Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Housewives Historian, and we are here to talk Real Housewives. There's been a lot going on last couple of days. Real Housewives of Atlanta, their 3-part reunion wrapped up, so we're done with that. So much still going on in Beverly Hills. I just finished up a video with some really great content, so again, make sure those notifications are on. And we are going to be talking a little bit about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City today, and not just Jen Shah pleading guilty. So before we get started though, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, turn those notifications on. The likes really help my videos, so yeah, like my video. Okay guys, let's talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We have to kind of go back in time. I don't want to get into too much, guys, but let's talk about Lisa Barlow's rant, her hot mic moment, if you will. Okay, the rant, allegedly she didn't know that she was mic'd, or she didn't think that her mic was on, because if you guys remember, and if you don't, you should go back and just kind of skim through the last episode. She had on like a black blazer jacket, like an oversized one, and like a little bralette, and it looked like the speaker was on her bralette, but it may not have been. It might have actually been in the room, like it was a loose speaker, because there was somebody in that room that she was talking to, obviously producer or something. We are going to see her trying to apologize and try to get back to being friends with Meredith. We didn't know how Lisa was going to play this, and thankfully she's had a couple of months to, like think about it and evaluate her feelings, and probably be prepared to at every angle that they come at her, that she would have some sort of a response, because of what she said was so harsh, and like, it just sounded so bad. It just sounded so bad. I mean, it was like something F her, she cheats on her effing husband, she's F'd half of New York, so that's where it gets sticky, right? Because not only, like, it's not like she just insulted Meredith, she insulted Meredith's family by insinuating that Meredith is a slut. I'm like, not trying to be mean, but like, you are offending her children and her husband because it was so strong, because it was like, she's the F half of New York City, and I don't cheat on my husband like she does. So unfortunately, that involves the entire family. I really think these ladies need to start learning how to just take shots at each other, and not involve, let's not say everyone's having an affair, right? Is everyone having an affair? Because we know we like heard a little bit about Jen Shah last year too. And so now we're going to hear it a little bit more about Lisa Barlow as well, with these rumors, allegedly, that she was giving favors to get her tequila into these different locations. Anyways, I get enjoyment a little bit of watching Lisa struggle. Okay, so we saw a few minutes of the new episode coming out, and we see Lisa first meet with Heather. And I'm going to remind you guys that they went to college together. If you guys don't remember, in the first season, Heather talked about how she knew Lisa, and they went to college together. But when Lisa was asked about Heather, Lisa said, oh yeah, she was a good time girl. And Heather said a good time girl was like girls that like flashed guys, like a good time girl, like a drunken girl that might have like just been getting out of her house for the first time. I don't know, but it didn't sound like a compliment. Okay, and ever since then, Lisa's kind of acted uppity towards Heather, right? Like, she's too good for Heather, because it's almost like how Kim treats Chloe. Well, she doesn't anymore, because Chloe's like super skinny, but Kim used to treat Chloe this way because like Chloe wasn't good for like her aesthetic, right? Like, she wasn't pretty enough to like really hang out because she wasn't skinny enough. And so I kind of get that from Lisa Barlow. Like, that's how she treats Heather, and that's how she looks at Heather, like, because she possibly could be that superficial when it comes to co-stars, television, TV shows. Anyways, and she basically just buckles down, humbles herself, and says, look, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you think I should do? And Heather says, what's the most important thing to Meredith? And Lisa's like, her family. And Heather's like, there you go. What does that tell you? And Lisa's like, no, 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 I really don't think like that. I swear I don't think like that. It would, blase, 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 blase. And that's all we really hear from that. And then the next scene, we see her go to a party, and Meredith is there, and she's talking to Jen Shah. And Jen Shah says, Lisa is talking to Seth. And Meredith immediately looks annoyed, right? And Lisa is, I don't know if she took the approach that I would have took an approach. I mean, she basically cried a lot, and she said she was losing out on sleep, and that she felt so terrible, and that she was just in a blind rage. She didn't even remember what she was saying. She doesn't feel that way about Meredith. And again, she's telling this to her husband, who you're basically making accusations that Meredith cheats on him. So he's standing there listening to you, who, in a passive aggressive way has said basically to national television that his wife cheats on him, right? And so all you really give him is I don't remember, I was in a blind rage, I swear to God, I don't feel that way. It was like almost like she was trying to convince herself. And Seth kind of let her flip-flop around in there. You notice, he didn't really say a lot. He just kind of let her do the talking, and she didn't really take the chance to say anything super valuable, because she rerouted the conversation back to herself and said that the ride up there, the girls were saying to her, Meredith's not your friend, Meredith is not your friend, Meredith isn't your friend. And she's like, I was just, so upset, and I was hurting too, Seth. Is what she said. So, but Seth doesn't really seem to accept that. He just kind of was like, have a great day. And that's all we really see, right? And so then Lisa Barlow does an interview with a couple of ladies, I think from Entertainment Tonight, and they ask her about, is it really weird that, Lisa, you're kind of separated, and that Meredith and Jen are best friends, and they call each other when they need each other, right? And she says, I know, it's just disgusting. And then she goes on and on and on about how she can't even believe that, and blase skip, you guys can catch an interview yourself. I just lost my train of thought on what she said at the very out. And then she tried to clean it up after she said it was disgusting and gross. By the end, she talked herself into a circle, and she was like, but you know what? I really had wanted Meredith and Jen to make up in the beginning, and actually that's what I was trying to do all last season, was get them to make up. So I'm glad that they're made up. But it didn't sound that way when they originally asked the question, because she literally said it was gross. Yeah. Anyways, a little bit about Jen Shah. She was brought up on The View, and because Meredith Marks had done an interview, and she had said that she was standing by Jen Shah because she felt like Jen Shah needed a friend. That was her friend, right? So they show that clip on The View, and Whoopi Goldberg opens it up with some kind of comment, basically maybe the old folks she defrauded need some folks around, them too, but who am I? And so the ladies kind of discussed their position on Jen Shah and Meredith, or just basically people who commit crimes or felonies in general. And if you stand by them or if you don't stand by them, can you be friends with someone and still be there for them without liking what they did or did not do? So, I don't know. That's a hard question. It gets really, really sticky, because again, there was old people defrauded, but however, because she did take responsibility and she did do a plea deal, then that will alleviate a trial, putting, the victims through any sort of that, and they can come up with the restitution amount, and they can start getting that distributed to the people that she owes money to. So that they can't do any of that until she's actually convicted and sentenced. But had she went to trial, it could have been months and months and months. So 1, it's easier on the victims. 2, it's showing that they're taking some sort of responsibility. And 3, it'll help the restitution get distributed and collected faster. But what it also does is it gives the prosecutors a higher conviction rate. And they love that at election time. So that's why you see so many people in America taking plea deals, because they don't have the resources to go to trial. They have a public defender because they can't afford an attorney, and they possibly are overcharged anyways, in hopes that if they lower the charges to what they really should be in the first place, they'll offer them a plea deal for them to plea out. And of course, wham bam, thank you ma'am, prosecutors, has a conviction rate with that. So but that's basically what the ladies were talking about, is if you have a friend, if you have a family member who they do something wrong, of course they're saying, like, obviously there's a difference between child abuse and, stealing $100 from someone. Like, it just really depends on the person, and it depends on the crime. Everything is sort of on an individual basis when it comes to that. But I don't think that we should really judge Meredith, or actually anyone that sticks by Jen Shah, because she is taking ownership of it. And I think that will help get everyone made right again. And we're going to see a different sort of personality come from Jen than we did from Erica. Like, we have Erica stuck in our head that we think that that's how Jen Shah is, and that she's not going to be like, there's victims, don't pay that, how Erica basically said that the victims needed to prove that they weren't paid. And she talked about her resentments about the V word and the victims, because she is a victim too. We saw that in a clip coming up for this week's episode. So I think that that's what we're thinking we're going to get, but I don't think we're going to get that from Jen Shah. I'm hoping that we're going to get some remorse, some compassion, some I made a mistake. This was a broad business. The laws were very broad on the sort of thing that they were doing. Not saying that that's right or wrong, because obviously the intent here was not in a good place, but maybe it didn't always start out that way. You know what I'm saying? And I worked sales one time, and when I tell you that the sales floor is you can hear a pin drop sometimes when the tension is bad and they need sales. And the boss comes in the morning and does motivational speeches, and the brokers are forced to basically try to find deals. It doesn't matter. They got to find the deals. They got to make it happen. So much pressure. So I imagine that they probably find loops and holes to try to, bring up their numbers, of course, and maybe they just didn't do about it the right way. And then she got greedy. I hate to say it, but that's probably what happened. I mean, she threw an $80,000 birthday party for Meredith. I bet she's wishing she wouldn't have did that now. Shit. She could use that money. But I am seeing her on Twitter or Instagram with her kids at football games on Friday nights, supporting her son. He's in the stands. And I don't really remember seeing a lot of that before. Like, we saw some of that, but this seems much more often that she's with the kids, or she's with her husband and they're supporting the children, or she's, at the school or whatever she may be doing. But it does seem like she's really enjoying her children and taking the time out to spend with them. So, I mean, if she spends 6 months with her kids and lives like it's the last 6 months she's going to have with them for a while, that could be more valuable than 3 years of nothing, of mom traveling, of mom working, of mom being busy, of mom working in her office, filming here, traveling here, right? I mean, that's just something to think about, because sometimes we go through a process, we learn things along the way, and maybe that's something that she's gonna learn. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good thing to learn, though. Or the earlier the better, right? Because then you kind of can cuddle and love on your family or your children a little bit more, because you understand how special and short time really is. But hopefully that's what's happening with Jen Shah here. But I want to know what you guys think about Lisa Barlow, and do you think that Meredith and Seth should forgive Lisa? Do you believe that that's how she really feels about Meredith and Seth? Make sure you guys comment and let me know. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk soon.